Tesla just released the most exciting new feature for vehicles with the full self-driving computer and software, officially called traffic light and stop sign control. It is clearly labeled beta, but so are most of the features associated with autopilot. However, in this case, Tesla really means it. By activating this feature, you agree to pay attention and be ready to take immediate action at all times, including braking. Seems like normal safe driving advice when written down, but in reality, this new feature requires the attention of a driving instructor teaching a driving student. In fact, you are a driving instructor, teaching Tesla's algorithm every time you allow or initiate passage through an intersection while on autopilot. Tesla also warns that this feature may be conservative and slow down often until it adapts to the data learned from the fleet. This is absolutely understandable, but it adds a source of stress that you might not want to be dealing with every time you come up to a green light. I do think that Tesla owners like myself might find enjoyment in being part of generating fleet data that will make this and other features rapidly improve. However, it is a lot of work, requires a lot of extra attention due to the additional tasks it places on the driver, and it should only be used when you're undistracted and in the mood to teach the algorithm how to drive. When activated, this feature will alert you that it's going to stop at an upcoming intersection unless you tap either the accelerator or the drive stalk. If the light is green, autopilot will allow your Tesla to proceed through the intersection. If the light is red, it will stop behind the line indicated in your lane. If the light is yellow, it might proceed through the intersection or initiate a stop depending on how quickly you're going to pass through the intersection, just like a human driver would do. Again, this sounds really cool, but even when it's working exactly as promised, you'll find yourself busy at times keeping up with those alerts.
My daughter is 15, and though she's old enough to get a learner's permit in the state of North Carolina, she can't because everything is closed down right now. But that's not keeping me from teaching her how to drive. And I don't mean sitting here. I mean she's in the passenger seat, and I'm telling her different tips and tricks and safety rules that she might not get in a normal course. One that I'm sure she will get in a course is the fact that even though it might be legal for you to do something like enter an intersection, it still might not be safe. And it's your responsibility as a driver to make sure that you keep yourself safe, keep your passengers safe, keep other cars' occupants safe, even if it means not doing something that you legally have the right to do. Tesla's latest software has what they call traffic light and stop sign control, but intersection control is a better word for it because it turns out that it'll stop for intersections, some goofy ones like T's that might not have ordinary stop signs or stoplights. But it acts very much like a brand new driver, and you're about to see that coming up to this stop sign right here. So I'm getting a warning that it's stopping for traffic control in 400 feet, 100 feet, and now it's stopping, accelerating, stopping. The wheel is turning right to left, way right. None of that is how a human driver would take that intersection at all. It completely flakes out, but it's brand new. It's actually in a learning mode. This is as beta a feature that Tesla has released to a greater number of cars as I think Advanced Summon when it came out. It's something that you really have to be paying attention to use safely. And I'm not just talking about paying attention to autopilot and what it's doing. It's actually going to add a level of distraction to your driving that might take your attention away from the very things you're supposed to be paying attention to in order to teach a car how to do it. Just like that, it will have false alarms, and that could cause problems for cars behind you. But as you're going to see, the way this works is that it knows you're coming up to an intersection with some kind of traffic control, and it's not going to proceed through, say, a green light unless you tell it that it's safe to do so. Because even though it will know that the light is green and it is legal to proceed through the intersection, autopilot isn't there yet to know that it's safe to do so. So as you come up on a traffic light, it'll tell you it's going to stop for this traffic light, even though it's green, unless you tap the accelerator or tap the drive stalk, and then it'll just proceed on through, assuming that you have indicated you are paying attention and ready to take over, including stopping altogether if it's not safe to proceed into the intersection, despite the green light. So the light is green, and I already indicated that it's safe to proceed, but we haven't even gotten very close to the intersection yet because traffic is stopped. So far, so good. Sometimes it will throw a second reminder, and it didn't this time. Coming up on another intersection, just tap the drive stalk, everything's fine. It's green, it can see that it's green, indicating it's green, and it proceeded pretty smoothly. It did slow down a little bit there as I got close to the intersection. Another thing that happens is that it will put the warning up and it'll start to slow down as soon as the warning comes up sometimes. That's kind of annoying. You don't even have a chance to tell it that it's okay, you're on it, and it already starts to slow down, even though you're 600 feet away from a traffic signal, for example. So we're coming up on a red light and traffic is stopped. So there are a lot of reasons why it's going to stop anyway. So I am saying that I know that there's an intersection there, but it's stopping for the car that stopped in front of me. And now it's telling me that it sees that it's a red light. Of course, now that we're really close to the car in front, it can't see it anymore. And it gives me the stopping for traffic control, the general alert again. So I'm going to clear that. It wasn't as obvious this time, but you can kind of see that the steering wheel is cocked to the left. More so than when it just stops for stop traffic before the whole intersection control was a thing. It tends to lose its confidence as it comes up to a stop. Sometimes it's really bad to where it seems like it's just going to shoot you across to one side or the other of the intersection. See, now this is the kind of thing that I'm talking about. It's a green light, and it gave me the same alert for the intersection twice. Had nothing to do with the light being green or red. It is much smoother to use the drive stalk than to hit the accelerator when you're already at the speed you want to be. If you're trying to correct a bad choice of the traffic aware cruise control or autopilot by using the accelerator, obviously that's going to be a better choice. But if you tap the accelerator, it's a very responsive accelerator, so it will end up. Well, that was really late to find that as a red light. So it was a red light when it warned me that it was going to stop for the traffic control. And so I cleared the stopping for traffic control alert. So like that. So I use the accelerator to get going when you're at a stop and you're the first car. Perfectly natural to do. But you could also hit the drive stalk. But that's one of the things that I noticed is that the alerts, the stopping behavior, it's actually, it's really cool, but it's not consistent. Okay, no, it was not going to stop appropriately for that yellow. That was a manual override. I did not want to blow through that yellow. And by the time I came to a stop, it probably would have been legal for me to go through that intersection, but I don't think it would have been a good idea. I was not comfortable going that fast through that intersection as it was turning yellow. But I think the fact that I hit the brakes kind of hard will be recorded as an error, I hope. So that time, the alert appeared and then disappeared. So that might not have even been for this signal. It might have been a false signal. The response on the lights is actually really fast too. Like you could actually, if it were a sunny day, you could look at the signal here. If it's too bright to look at the signal up there, and it will turn green on the screen almost immediately when it turns green in real life. What? All right, so there's an example of I told it was okay to go. It started to go, and then it required me to tell it was okay again. That's the kind of situation where, you know, if you're using the accelerator, it's automatically going to answer that alert each time it pops up. When you're using this mode, autopilot, actually auto steer won't work above the speed limit. And luckily for this part of my travels, the speed limit that it thinks it is the actual speed limit. It's not always the case, and that's kind of annoying. So it's stopping for a stop sign. There's no stop sign. I mean, I don't even know where it might have seen a stop sign. All right, I told it was okay. Let's see what happens. It just blew through the actual lane marker. That lane that I was in moved over to the left. This is the lane that I should have been in when I came through that intersection. Yep, just like that. I was, see, you have to be paying attention constantly, like to the car. I'm trying to pay attention to crosswalks and intersections and things like that. Like this person, they opened their car door, right? I need to be paying attention to stuff like that on this road. And this sometimes starts to become task overload. Okay, so here's a situation where that sun, yep, it can't see. So it totally lost the signals because the sun is right behind them. And I mean, I'm having to block the sun just so I could see one of them. I couldn't even see the other. But it alerted me. It said that autopilot couldn't proceed, that I needed to take over. So you get a string of lights like this, and you're constantly having to say, it's okay, it's okay, it's okay, while you're trying to make sure that you don't have college students trying to commit suicide by opening a door or stepping out in front of you. Aha. So at that point, once again, the sun passed directly in line with the traffic signals, and it freaked out right at that moment where it was behind the traffic signals. I knew it was green. It was green when we entered the intersection, and that's something that autopilot is going to have to learn as well. Ooh, that was really rough. A lot of tapping the brakes at the end there, and the steering started to wander. Now I'm going to come up on another series of lights where I'm going to have to repeatedly tell it that it's okay to go through the intersections. And again, this is a lot of task overload. Most people can handle it. That's not what I'm saying. But you have to recognize that it does add to your tasks as a driver. And you need to be paying attention, not just to telling the car that it's okay to go through these intersections over and over and over again. See, now I gotta be paying attention to cross traffic because it slows the car down. I gotta do this again. But I need to be making sure that it's safe to go through these intersections. I need to be paying attention to these drivers and driving defensively as I always should be. And one of the things about this set of lights, as hopefully is showing up on the video, is that it actually does a lot of braking right when the notice comes up. And that's annoying. That didn't happen. But right there, I just went through a light that turned yellow as I was going through it, and it was fine. I had no problems. I wanted to go through that one. And most of the time, if it turns yellow where you really need to be stopping, it will stop. That time where I had to take over, that was actually the first time that I disagreed with the decision that the car was making. That was the first time. And that's pretty good for having this for just over a week. Again, it's just mostly stopped, then it reduced the braking effort, and then it kind of slammed it on at the very end there. Not comfortable at all. I didn't even see what that alert was, but it wanted me to stop and I didn't. And it didn't. There's another false stop sign. Like I said, it's going to keep you busy. See, it's not going to go through a red light if it can see it. Even though you tell it it's okay. See, once again, it says it's unable to proceed. I don't know what that's about. Yep, okay, so at that point, it just wanted to take me into the car to my right. And I just held on to the steering wheel and kept it from doing that. That's very interesting. I wouldn't know whether that's the sun or not unless I did this again at some other time of day. Oop, yep, see? That absolutely would have taken me into the lane to my right. Even though there were vehicles there, that was enough that the car that was immediately to my right, not the one you can see there, but the one behind me, kind of backed off, wondering what the heck I was doing. Yeah, that's super not cool. Let's see if we can do this. I'm not counting on it because this is really weird. Nope, it's already trying to go too far left. Trying to cut the corner too much. It's one of the things that I enjoy without putting anybody at risk. I like to see how far the algorithm has come for edge cases like that. Okay, so it saw that stop sign and briefly thought that it was for us. But I guess as it got enough parallax, it realized that it wasn't. But that's... Now I don't even see a stop sign anywhere. And it thought there was one. Again. So this is the State Fair complex. And they've been selling bulk chicken here and having people direct traffic around this whole area. So I wonder if those are areas where people hold handheld stop signs that got recorded by other Teslas that are in the map somehow. There's some behavior of this that others have teased out that suggests that's part of what a Tesla is doing. Is there's a map of where some of these stop signs and signals are, and it's kind of looking for them and acting as if they're there until it confirms that no, it's not actually there. And both of those places where it just said there was a stop sign when there was no stop sign at all to see were places where absolutely I know human traffic control could be doing something that other Teslas have picked up as being stops, whether it's a handheld stop sign or something else. So I think this is awesome. And I'm enjoying using it, but not all the time. There are times where I just really don't want to be doing all this, that I'd rather be manually stopping the car or deciding to go through intersections, because this is, I know, I'm just reaching up and I'm tapping it, but it gets you out of your mood, it gets you out of your mind, gets you out of your focus. And it does require you to take some focus away from all of the different aspects of driving that are keeping you safe. Because clearly the car isn't always doing the right thing going through these intersections nonetheless. It does really well. I can't believe my car is doing this. And I know it's going to get better when people like me kind of push through all that and train it. But I don't recommend that you use this feature unless you're paying attention. Not just to the feature itself, but making sure that you're paying extra attention to everything else. That you don't let this feature become a distraction from safe driving. Because you still need to be in control of the car. You still need to be telling the Tesla that it's safe to proceed through an intersection. And there will be times where you need to take over. It's also, like I said, it can be a little bit annoying. Like, is it okay? 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 It gets annoying. So, with that in mind, I really think it takes a certain kind of person to get a lot out of this feature. And it takes a certain kind of person to, like this. Like, I just want to make sure that it's going to stop for this intersection. Yeah. So it stopped for the car in front of me anyway. But you have to be a driver that pays attention in the first place. And not every driver does, certainly, and not every Tesla driver does. You need to be paying attention when you're using this feature. If you want to get a Tesla for yourself, be sure to use my Tesla Owners referral link. It'll be somewhere on your screen. The full details of the Tesla Owners referral program can be found at the link itself. Be sure to subscribe so you can see other videos showing Tesla software updates as they come out. I really appreciate you watching the Tech of Tech, and I hope to see you next time.